So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Here we get back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Thursday, March 17th. Hope everybody's having a day so far and a good rest of their day. Yes, third day. It is, in fact, Thursday, March 17th here today. Coming off another big night last night in the world of sports. The New York Jets continue to make moves. March Madness begins today. Nets lost on a really tough, heartbreaking last-second shot by Spencer Dinwiddie as the Nets took a tough loss last night, 113-111. Knicks in their return home at the Garden smoked the Trailblazers by 30, 128-98. And I mean, really just a wild night. Last night in sports, we had the first four games continuing in March Madness. We got March Madness today. I've been watching it all day, from the start between Michigan and Colorado State, and now we have just, it's 5:29 Eastern right now, and I just got done watching Richmond versus Iowa, and Richmond upsets number 5 ranked Iowa 67-63, so just a wild game there, your first major upset, and I will admit, my bracket is officially busted. I had Iowa getting to the second round, so I had them beating Richmond. I did have Iowa losing to Providence, so my bracket won't be too bad if I have Providence. If Providence moves on next round against Richmond, Providence crushed South Dakota State today. No surprise there. So bracket's already busted. Many of your brackets, I'm sure, already busted. I've gotten a couple ones right. The finished games up to this point, I got Michigan right, Providence right. Boise State, Memphis game I missed on. I got Baylor right, and I got the Tennessee game right. Missed out on Richmond, Iowa. Right now, Gonzaga's only beating Georgia State by 2 at halftime, 35-33, so a close game there. And UNC, North Carolina, is playing Marquette, and they're crushing Marquette right now, 46-21. So North Carolina dominating Marquette right now. I have Marquette in my bracket moving on, and North Carolina losing, so right now that's kind of up in the air as well. Last night, to talk about New York sports, today's going to just be a March Madness day. I also want to get to my bracket. I messed it up. I kind of messed up the days. Instead of doing March Madness yesterday, I did March Madness today, and I probably was not a smart idea because you obviously had, I should have done my bracket yesterday. It wasn't a smart idea because today the games start, and by the time this is uploaded, games are already gone, games are already going. So it probably isn't a good idea to do it now. My bracket's already busted, but I still want to read you my bracket, still want to give you the games, and still want to talk about it because, March Madness is such a big sport, but such a big sporting event and such a great time of year. Like I said, to kind of recap last night's game, Knicks get a big win, 128-98. Rangers are back in action tonight at the Garden against the Isles. Nets lost a tough one. I mean, Kevin Durant with a big shot late. Dinwiddie comes up, hits a 3, bang. Game's over. So really tough, really difficult, tough pill to swallow. Was hoping to get our 5th straight win. We take a tough loss. Got to bounce back now. Got to bounce back and get ready for the next one coming up. As the Nets will be back in action on Friday, and they will be back in action on Friday hosting the Portland Trailblazers tomorrow night. So tough loss for the Nets. As for tonight, we got Kentucky as they begin their March Madness run that hopefully on the end of this, hopefully by the end of all this, the Kentucky will be hoisting up the championship. They will be national champions. That's the hope of this all. They'll be in action tonight. As for hockey, Rangers and Islanders and Nets and Knicks both have a night off tonight. There's only 2 basketball games on tonight. Only one NBA game on tonight. I apologize. And then there's Rangers Isles as well. So Rangers Isles tonight. Nets and Knicks both with days off after they had some after they both played last night at home. Alrighty, so let's get to the topics. Today's going to be March Madness. I'm going to run through my bracket, tell you who I got, because some of the games still haven't started, so I figured, still tell you who I got, still tell you, what I got going. Go through the games that have already happened, kind of reveal some of the scores, give you some updates, kind of just a live type thing, although it's recorded. And then we'll get to the New York sports update. So, sorry if I'm looking down a lot today and I'm not looking up at the camera. I apologize if that's the case. I feel like I've already done it already, where I'm just looking down, not looking up at this camera because I'm looking at my bracket, I'm looking at the scores, looking at the live updates. This is kind of what March Madness is all about. Craziness, wild. These are the days where it's okay if you don't get up off your couch because you're just watching March Madness. Found myself earlier today watching the Michigan-Colorado State game on my phone. Had some games on TV. Was watching some other games on my phone and on TV. I've already watched a ton of March Madness today. So, with all that being said, a lot to get to. This is BSN Podcast, and let's get right into it. Alrighty, so March Madness has officially begun today, March 17th on this Thursday. Had some crazy games last night. Had some wild games last night. You had Iowa, you had the Irish, Notre Dame on the St. Patrick's Day, and Rutgers. And Notre Dame won that one in double overtime. And Wright State beat Bryant pretty comfortably, 93-92. So Notre Dame will now move on to play Alabama, and Bryant will now go on to play, or Wright State, Wright State will now go on to play number 1 ranked Arizona in the south part of the bracket. And today, Texas Southern will play Kansas, I believe, out of the Midwest part of the bracket. And Kentucky plays tonight against St. Peter's. So Kentucky comes into tonight's game with a regular season record of 26-7. St. Peter's comes into tonight's game 19-11. Kentucky's the 2 seed. St. Peter's the 15 seed. And you really look at the bracket, which I've got right in front of me, and this is my filled out paper bracket. I also made some online. I like to be old school sometimes. I love to fill out the old school paper brackets because I also have the one online. But the Kentucky and St. Peter's, Kentucky wins. Kentucky doesn't have a terrible road to the Final Four if they would to get there. I mean, after today, if they win today, then they got to play either Murray State or San Francisco. Most likely Murray State, let's just assume. Murray State's a good team, but definitely beatable for Kentucky. If Kentucky then would move on to the Sweet 16, their matchup would be Purdue. Again, another beatable team, but Purdue might not even get there because there are some upsets that could be in the way. Virginia Tech is a hot team, might beat Texas, and I could see Virginia Tech maybe making a little bit of a run to get to the Sweet 16. So Kentucky, let's say they get to that point, then Elite 8 would be your first big matchup, which is the potential of playing Baylor. So there's a good chance if you're looking at Kentucky, just from a Kentucky fan standpoint, I'm not saying we're going to win it all. I'm not saying that we have an easy road. But compared to some other teams where Arizona in the second round's got to play a good Seton Hall team, unlike some of these other teams, or, even Auburn, who's been struggling a little bit's got to go play USC, an under-the-radar team that might be able to make a run, get to the Sweet 16 if they don't have to, because they might have to run into Wisconsin. Or even some of these teams with these tough first-round matchups. Second round, Arkansas in the second round's got to play UConn. So there's some really interesting second-round matchups. St. Mary's, UCLA might be a potential second-round matchup. So for Kentucky, the road isn't wild. Because you have Murray State, which is beatable. Then you have Purdue, who's shown this season they're beatable. And who knows, maybe Virginia Tech goes on a rampage, beats Texas, beats Purdue, and then you get Kentucky. Really, Kentucky, the one thing for Kentucky is once they get to the Elite 8, that's when things really get tough. Because then you're going to have to play Baylor. The possibility you might have to play Baylor. Baylor moved on today. They'll play the winner of North Carolina and Marquette, who right now North Carolina is blowing Marquette out of the water. So if this, right, looking like they're going to play North Carolina in the second round. Baylor crushed Norfolk State today, no surprise there. But there's a good chance Kentucky get to the Elite 8 and then have to go face up against Baylor. And you look at it and you're like, okay, now this is really where the big matchups start. Because then if you beat them, you might have to go Gonzaga, might have to face up against Texas Tech. If Arkansas makes a run, maybe Duke gets there in Coach K's last season. So it's really interesting to see how the bracket breakdown goes because you go to the West and you got a lot of good teams. Gonzaga, UConn, Arkansas, Alabama, Texas Tech, Davidson, Duke, Michigan State, a ton of good teams. You go to the South Arizona, Seton Hall, Houston, Illinois, Michigan. Colorado State was even a good team. I picked Michigan to move on. You have Tennessee, Villanova, Loyola Chicago is always a team you got to look out for. And then you go to the Midwest side of the bracket. San Diego State, Creighton, Kansas, Providence, Iowa. Obviously got upset, to Richmond. So Richmond will be moving on to play Providence in the second round. Iowa State, LSU, that's an interesting one. LSU just fired their head coach. Do they use that as fuel and motivation, or do they kind of take a step back and struggle a little bit due to all the outside stuff going on? Wisconsin is a team I think, personally, in my bracket, I have them getting to the Final Four. Auburn is a team you look out for. USC. Then you go to the East, and you got a couple ones, right? The East, it's like, you have all these good teams. Then you go to the East, and it's Baylor. Marquette, North Carolina, two good teams. St. Mary's, UCLA, Texas and Virginia Tech are solid. Purdue, Kentucky and Murray State. It's like, you look at it, and for Kentucky, compared to some of these other sides, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I think the road's a little bit easier for Kentucky than it is for some of these other teams. For Gonzaga, or even for Auburn that might have to play USC in the second round. That is not a good second round matchup. Kentucky might be able to, who knows, Kentucky might get Murray State, or maybe Kentucky gets San Francisco, which Kentucky is very capable of beating. USC Auburn, that's a very tight game. So you really look at the bracket breaks down and have things break down, it definitely creates some interesting scenarios and possibilities for my Kentucky Wildcats. Now, on my bracket here, I have Kentucky in the Elite Eight losing to Baylor. That's my bracket here. I did make a couple brackets online as well with Kentucky winning it all. I did do a couple. I've said this all along. I think Kentucky's capable. I've always said it. I think they're very capable of winning it all. If we could stay healthy, and if we get guard play that is very good throughout the March Madness, and my biggest key is, and that's why I hope today, as much as I like close games, I hope today we blow out St. Peter's, because as much as us fans, want close games, sometimes I want today to be a blowout. Number one, also just because you blow them out, you move on, boom, you move on to the other rounds. Yeah, I don't want a close upset. I don't want this close game that makes you really play these guys hard. Kellen Grady, I think, out of all of our biggest X factors, you could Oscar Sheboy, all these biggest X factors. If Kentucky wants to win the tournament, Kellen Grady's got to be Kellen Grady of earlier in the season. And recently, Kellen Grady has not been good. So if Kentucky wants to win the tournament, Kellen Grady has got to be the Kellen Grady we all knew from his days, in Davidson and now coming to Kentucky. And that was early in the season, was one of the best three-point shooters in college basketball, as we all have known him for years. He hasn't been that recently. Our biggest X factor is if Kellen Grady can get going, I believe Kentucky has a chance. If he struggles, that removes your three-point asset. That removes your scoring ability when you go up against teams like Baylor and Purdue, and if you ever would to face Gonzaga, these other teams that can light it up and shoot and make a ton of baskets, you're going to get outscored by a lot. So Kentucky, Kellen Grady's got to come to play. My bracket, how I got it playing out, I'm going to go down the list here. Coming out of the first round, I had Gonzaga versus Boise State. That didn't happen. Gonzaga right now is still in the midst of the game. Boise State lost to Memphis. So it's Memphis versus whoever Gonzaga and Georgia State's the winner, that is. I had Arkansas and UConn. Neither of those games have happened. But I got UConn over New Mexico State, Arkansas over Vermont. I got Alabama over Notre Dame. Obviously, Rutgers lost yesterday. I still have Alabama going over Notre Dame. I thought about picking Rutgers if they would have won, just because they're that type of team that if they can get on roll, they can be, they could be a team that could make it to the Sweet 16. That's how streaky they are. But I do have Alabama. Texas Tech, Montana State. I do have Texas Tech. Michigan State, Davidson. I have Davidson coming out of there. Duke and CSU Fullerton. I got Duke. Then to go to the east side, Baylor, Norfolk State. Baylor's already in. Marquette, North Carolina. I had Marquette. It's looking more like North Carolina, so it's looking like it's going to be Baylor, North Carolina. St. Mary's, Wyoming, or Indiana. It's going to be St. Mary's versus Indiana. I have St. Mary's come out of there. UCLA, Akron hasn't happened yet. I have UCLA. Texas, Virginia Tech. I actually have Virginia Tech. Hot team right now. Won the ACC. Purdue, I have Purdue. Murray State, San Francisco, I have Murray State. Kentucky, St. Peter's, I have Kentucky moving on. Now to the right side of the bracket, Arizona, Wright State, and Bryant, I have Arizona. Seton Hall versus TCU. Arizona will be playing Bryant, by the way, tomorrow. they'll be playing Wright State. I apologize. They'll be playing Wright State tomorrow in the first round. Houston, UAB, got Houston, Illinois, Chattanooga, Illinois. Michigan, Colorado State already happened. I had Michigan moving on. Michigan did move on. Tennessee and Michigan, I had in my bracket. Tennessee beat Longwood today, so those are the two games there. Predicted quickly. Ohio State, Loyola, Chicago. I got Loyola, Chicago coming out of there. Villanova, Delaware. I got Villanova. Kansas and Texas Southern. I have Kansas. Creighton, San Diego State. I have Creighton. Iowa, Richmond already happened. Richmond move on. I had Iowa, so got that wrong. Providence, South Dakota State, that already happened. I had Providence. They moved on. Iowa State, LSU hasn't happened yet. Wisconsin, Colgate hasn't happened yet. USC, Miami hasn't happened yet. Auburn, Jacksonville State hasn't happened yet. I have USC, Auburn, Iowa State, Wisconsin, I have Iowa State, Wisconsin, and USC, Auburn. So my second round matchups were Gonzaga, Boise State. It really is going to be, Gonzaga right now is in a close game. So I don't even want to say it's going to be Gonzaga because, look, it's a 35-33 game right now. Gonzaga's in a nail-biter. I mean, it's a close game. This isn't no 40, this isn't no 60-20 first half. This is a 35-33 game, and right now they're into it. Now, UNC's dominating Marquette. North Carolina's just destroying them. 53-25 right now at half. So it got even worse. So 28 they're up. So unless a massive 28-point second-half comeback by Marquette, it's going to be a Baylor-North Carolina second-round game, which has the potential to be fun. Because remember, North Carolina went on the road, Coach K's final game at Cameron Indoor, beat Duke. That's one of the hardest tasks you can do. If you can accomplish that task, you can accomplish a whole lot. So that's potential to be fun. Imagine if we see, it would be hilarious if we see a Georgia State Memphis second round game in the West. That would just be wild. Memphis, Georgia State, one of them going on to the Sweet 16 would just be a wild turn of events and a wild situation in March Madness. And look, we see it every year. Our first big upset has been Richmond, and we see it every year. You're going to see it every single season. You see an upset. You see a team like Loyola make a run. You see a team like a UMBC shock the world and maybe as a 15 seed take down a 2 seed or as a 16 seed take down a 1 seed. We see 12 and 5s. Richmond today took down Iowa. A lot of people had Iowa making it to the Final Four. Some people had Iowa winning it all. People were high on Iowa. They won the Big Ten tournament. They came into the tournament hot. They were ready. They were rolling. They get knocked out first round. 20 minutes ago they lost. So Iowa's done. So shocker there. You're always going to see those. My Final Four, I know I'm kind of bouncing all over the place, but it's tough to read the bracket now that everything has already happened. My Final Four on this was Gonzaga, Tennessee. Or my final two, the championship game, I had Gonzaga, Tennessee, and I had Tennessee winning it all because I've seen Tennessee played 3 times this year. First time, Kentucky dominated them, and I loved every minute of it. Second time, Kentucky got dominated. Third time, Kentucky got dominated. So, and I'm lucky that Tennessee's not on Kentucky's side of the bracket. So the worst case, if the only way Kentucky can face Tennessee is if it's a Kentucky-Tennessee national championship. And after watching Tennessee, now my Final Four is Gonzaga, Baylor, and then Tennessee, Wisconsin. And I have Tennessee beating Wisconsin, Gonzaga beating Baylor. So Gonzaga get a little bit of redemption last season. That's if Gonzaga wins today. They're only up by 2. Got to watch out. Only up by 2 to Georgia State. And look, Gonzaga now is and I'm not rooting against Gonzaga. I want to see Gonzaga win. I'm always in for the upset. But I like Gonzaga. So if there would be a team that would get upset, I would like to see like a Kansas lose. Like if Texas Southern beat Kansas, that would be fun. Arizona lost to Wright State, that'd be fun. I'm not high on Arizona either. I have Arizona losing in the Elite 8. I know a lot of people have them going all the way. It's gonna be tough for teams to beat Tennessee. Tennessee's path, I have them beating Michigan, which is going to actually happen. That game's actually going to happen because Michigan beat Colorado State and Tennessee beat, obviously, Longwood earlier today. So I have Tennessee, Michigan. I have Tennessee winning that. I have Loyola, Chicago, Villanova, and I have Villanova beating Loyola, Chicago. So I would love to see Loyola, Chicago make another deep run. I feel like out of all these runs, one day Loyola is going to get there. It's just a matter of when. Then I have Tennessee, Villanova in the Elite Sweet 16. I have Tennessee moving on. Tennessee, Arizona in the Elite 8. Tennessee moving on. I have Tennessee in the Final Four versus Wisconsin. I have Tennessee moving on. I got Tennessee, Gonzaga, and I got Tennessee winning it. Their defense, their all-around play, they get to the basket, they're tough, they're gritty, they're physical. They can win games in multiple ways. They got some really good three-point shooters, Vescovi and a lot of those guys. They're a very dynamic team. They're a team that can hurt you in many ways. And you look at all the March Madness teams. There are some teams that are extremely one-sided, some teams that are extremely one-dimensional. This Tennessee team's got a different dynamic to them. And like I said, I've seen them 3 times this year. 3 times. First time was awful. It was great as a Kentucky fan. And believe me, I don't want to see Tennessee win it all because I don't like Tennessee. I can't stand them. But to be honest with you and completely remove my fandom out of this conversation and just talk blunt college basketball assessment, Tennessee's a complete team. And I've seen them twice this year, and I saw them just a couple days ago over the weekend with them beating Kentucky on Saturday. And like I said, I've seen them. So I know what they're capable of. I know what they can do, and they've only gotten better. And that's something you got to watch out to. They're on the up because they've gotten better the past 2 times I've watched them. They were good when Kentucky played on the road. They were even better on Saturday. And they're a team to watch. They won the SEC tournament. And there's always those teams too you got to watch out for, those hot teams going into it. Tennessee's a hot team. Iowa was a hot team. They obviously got cooled down today by Richmond. Virginia Tech's a very hot team. A lot of these teams are coming to this tournament, on a high note. Duke, not really. Yeah, you got a tough loss against. That's tough for Duke. Yeah, tough loss to end the regular season. A little bit of a choppy tournament. I don't think they should have any issue handling CSU Fullerton 21-10. In the 2-15 game, but you never know. So there's a couple really hot teams. Tennessee's one of them. You got to watch out for. Now, my one pick, if I had to choose one team that I could see making a run that maybe not many people expect, kind of just looking up and down my bracket. I know I say this jokingly a little bit because you always have to put them into but Loyola Chicago I could see. Let's just say Michigan somehow knocks off Tennessee. And if Loyola Chicago takes down Villanova, Loyola Chicago more than capable of beating Michigan, and that would lead them to the Elite 8. And if their magic continues. As long as Sister Jean's alive, I think Loyola Chicago is always going to be a team to watch in the March Madness, and I truly mean that. They're a very fun team. I continue to say this. I say this a little bit, and I don't want to sound crazy when I say this because I know it might sound wild, but I could definitely see a team like, Loyola Chicago, like I said, even like a team, Wisconsin, I know is only 3 seed, like a team like a Davidson, somebody who has a tough first-round matchup, wins, tough second-round matchup, wins, gets on a roll, starts getting hot. Texas Tech, I got going to the Elite 8, so, there's a 6 seed I got going, or whatever they are, 3 seed, I apologize. So, there's always those type of games you got to watch out for. I do think St. Mary's is a weird team. Because if it's a St. Mary's UCLA second round matchup, that's going to be interesting. Because if UCLA is very good, St. Mary's very good. St. Mary's beat Gonzaga. Can they do that again? Or are they going to be, one of those teams that struggles to beat the big time opponent? That's always an interesting one. Is Virginia Tech going to make a run? That's also a question. Maybe they're hot right now. If they beat Texas, beat Purdue, they get to the Sweet 16 and boom, they might be the hottest team in March college basketball. It might get to the point where it might be a Virginia Tech Baylor Elite 8, and that's fun. That'd be interesting. Kentucky, like I said, that's what could be interesting. Let's say Virginia Tech runs the table, gets the Elite 8, and they're facing Kentucky. That'd definitely make for a pretty intriguing matchup. My bracket has already gone busted, like I said. Now, Gonzaga right now got the update. They're winning 45-41. 16 minutes and 51 seconds left in the second quarter. That game's on TNT. So, 45-41 to start off there. 4-point game. 4-point game. Georgia State. Even if Gonzaga wins this and it turns into just like a 5-point win, Georgia State has nothing to be ashamed of. For a team to play Gonzaga and make it close like this, jeez, if they knock off Gonzaga, oh my. That would be wild. I think if they knock off Gonzaga, I think that would be an even bigger upset than UMBC over. And maybe call me crazy. I'm sure the odds are there, but I think that would be from just maybe the odds don't say it, but just from a skill standpoint and team standpoint of who's the better team, I think it would be a bigger upset than UMBC over Virginia. Mark my word. I think so. The odds might not say it, but I think it would be. Because, I mean, at this point, every year, people have Gonzaga in their bracket. Virginia, that was that one big season. Gonzaga, it's like every year. Gonzaga, 1 seed. 48-46 now. So we got some scoring. 2-point game. Georgia State with the ball. All right. Things are getting interesting. 48-46. Gonzaga's up by 2. So, definitely interesting. Definitely a interesting game for sure. Close for sure. I think it would be, I'm just trying to think. Georgia State, Memphis would be a very, that'd be a funny one. Georgia State, Memphis. That would be I don't think that many people had that on their brackets. I mean, I think some people had Memphis for sure, but I don't think many people had Georgia State getting there. Now, it's not over, but it's not over. It's not over, like I said. But Duke's a team. I have Duke out in the Sweet 16. Duke I have out in the Sweet 16. I got the game on right now. So I got the live stream on right now. Georgia State misses. Gets the board. Georgia State ties the game. Georgia State ties the game. 48-48. 15-15 to go in the second quarter to get a little bit of play-by-play. Gonzaga goes up with it. Reverse, no good. Georgia State gets the rebound. Georgia State has a chance to take the lead on Gonzaga. Drives in, kicks it out, gets stuffed. I mean, Chet Holmgren with a great block. Transition 3-on-2 for Gonzaga, and he misses the layup, puts it back in. 50-48. Really nice block by Chet Holmgren. Gonzaga has 6 blocks in this game. Georgia State has 2. 14:40 to go in the first. Let's see here. 50-48. Step back, fade away, good. Nothing but net. 50-50. That's about what this game's at right now. 50-50. Tie game, 50-50. About 6 minutes into the third, or second quarter, I don't know why I said third. Drew Timme with a real nice spin move in the layup. 52-50. Back and forth right now, game. Georgia State gets it, kicks it, dribbling. Taking the play. Looks like they're going to run a little off-ball screen. Don't know the players. They're going to have 2 run over. Screen there. Oh, misses it and 1, but the foul. Did not make it, but he's going to the line. So the Georgia State Panthers, 14 minutes to go, down 2 against the number 1 ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs. I mean, if that's not March Madness right there, summed up in a nutshell, I don't know what is. Richmond took down Iowa. Georgia State down by 2 against Gonzaga. Are we going to see a 12-5 and 16-1 upset today? We already got one of them. We'll see if we can get another one. So, like I said, I'm really excited. I love this time of year. I really do. Baseball, by the way, began today as well. We had we had some spring training on today. Red Sox dominated the Twins 14-1. We got some games in progress now. White Sox, Cubs, both games, split squad game, and Diamondbacks, Rockies. So baseball is officially back. Rest of the schedule tonight for March Madness is wild. UConn, New Mexico State, St. Mary's, Indiana, San Diego State, Creighton, Arkansas, Vermont, Murray State, San Francisco, UCLA, Akron, Kansas, Texas Southern, and like I said, as well, Kentucky and St. Peter's. So, I've always said this. One thing I will always say, like, that you cannot, the NIT just does not beat the March Madness. I mean, NIT does not beat, the NIT tournament is really just wild. In terms of, it's just, let's see here. The NIT tournament is just so dumb. It's just so stupid. And I don't even know why they do it. Nobody watches it. So, somebody I know at Richmond beating Iowa in their bracket. Sent a screenshot of it too, so we got proof. I do not, however. I had Iowa. So I did not have Iowa going far, though. That is one thing I can't say. I'm not as embarrassed and ashamed as those people that Iowa going all the way. In the some brackets I saw at Iowa winning it all. I had Iowa losing the province in the second round anyway, so it's not like I had Iowa. It's not like I had Iowa winning it all and this was the dominant team that we all were expecting. It's not. I didn't have that. Anyway, let's get to the rest of the sports here. Kentucky St. Peter's on tonight. Kentucky comes into this game 26-7. They are the second-ranked team in the eastern bracket of the bottom left of the March Madness. St. Peter's comes into this game 19-11. They are the 15th-ranked team in the March Madness. The Kentucky's 18-point favorites, big time. Got to take care of business, get the win. Let's not make it a Gonzaga where it's a close game. Get the win, dominate, move on. 18-point favorites. The over-under set 132.5. This game is on tonight, 7:10 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. I'm going to take Kentucky. I believe that they will win. I know I'm not one of those fans that's concerned. I think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to have any issues. I think they're going to do just fine. Give me Kentucky. As for the NBA, we got the Magic and the Pistons tonight. I'm going to take the Magic. That's the only game on tonight in the NBA. And a lot of games on in the NHL. Blue Jackets, Capitals, I'll take the Capitals. Hurricanes, Maple Leafs, I'll take the Hurricanes. Predators, Flyers, I'll take the Predators. Stars, Canadians, I'll take the Stars. Penguins, Blues, I'll take the Penguins. Sabres, Oilers, I'll take the Oilers. Canucks, Red Wings, I'll take Canucks. Kings, Sharks, I'll take the Kings. And Panthers, Golden Knights, I'll take the Panthers. Rangers, Isles tonight at the Garden. Rangers come into this game 38-17-5. Islanders come into this game 24-24-9. The over-under is set at 5.5. This game is on tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern on MSG. 75% of people think the Rangers will win this game. Give me the New York Rangers, the Blue Shirts, with the win tonight at home against the Isles at the Garden. And as for fantasy basketball, I am currently winning 608 to 393. And I have nobody going tonight. So, only one game on tonight. Pistons, Magic. Got no Pistons or Magic players. Used to have Cole Anthony. Don't have him on my roster anymore. So, that is it. And Gonzaga right now is, let's see. Let's get the live stream back up. Gonzaga right now is... Gonzaga's still winning by 2. So still a 2-point game for Gonzaga. It's weird because Georgia State is shooting 38% from the field. So it's not like they're shooting an incredibly high percentage and Gonzaga's really struggling. Like Georgia State's shooting the ball a ton too. So 52-52, another chance here for Georgia State to take the lead. Another chance. Let's see what they do with this possession, and I'm going to hop off and call it a day here for this March Madness Loaded podcast. Let's see what they do here. So Georgia State takes it. Wrap around, goes to the right, dribble, step back, fade away, makes it. Georgia State is beating Gonzaga by 2 right now. 54-52 on TNT if you're interested in watching this. Gonzaga's 3 of 14 from the 3. Timmy with a little bit of the overhead floater is good. Drew Timmy's always good for one of those. Georgia State, 9 lead changes, 18 ties. Biggest lead for Georgia State was 4. Biggest lead for Gonzaga was 6. Georgia State kicks it in the paint. And no good. Chet Holmgren gets the board. Tie game still. Gets it into the paint. Drew Timme. Bibbling. Goes to his left. Puts it up. And Gonzaga's back up by 2. It's funny because by the time you're listening to this, the game will be over. Field goals in the half, 9 of 15 Georgia State, 10 of 17 Gonzaga. Fade away, and it completely off. Just a bad shot, saw that all the way. Chet Holmgren saves it from going out of bounds, keeps the clock moving. 12 minutes to go now in the second half. Chet Holmgren sets the screen at the top of the key near the 3. Gets the ball back. Timme into Holmgren, just dominates, gets the and 1. Okay, so they're going to say the foul was on the floor. Holmgren will get, looks like... Okay, so the foul was on the floor. I don't think they counted the basket. Still a nice play. Took it to his right, went up with the left. that's just where it is. That's where these teams sometimes it's a disadvantage. I mean, Holmgren's just stronger, better, and faster. I mean, that's why he's at Gonzaga. So it looks like they're going to count it as a foul on the floor. That will be Georgia State's fifth foul. So a little bit of foul trouble with about 11 and change to go in the Gonzaga Georgia State game. So I'll definitely go watch that. But that will do it. That's going to pretty much do it tonight. For today, that's it. Tomorrow could be more of this. I enjoy this. It's kind of laid back, easy. Just talking about March Madness. And yeah, that will do it. As always, I'll see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.